How do you cope when your heart is broken? Do you drink? Do you get high? How do you cope when you don't get the job you want? Do you get mad? Do you take it out on others, or do you get depressed? Or maybe you don't feel at all. Hi guys, and welcome back to Midori's World. It's your girl Midori. Make sure that you comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, as well as follow my Instagram for my daily shenanigans and my Twitter, which is spicy. And I also have a podcast called Midori's World where I just talk about my day-to-day shenanigans and life. So if you want a good story time, a good funny comedy, or just something formal or informative, totally check out. It's really good. All my content is different on all my different social media platforms, so check it out. Enjoy. Have a good quarantine with me. Today guys, today's topic is going to be coping mechanisms. What makes a good one, what makes a bad one, what makes a coping mechanism unhealthy, and what are some positive or healthy coping mechanisms that we can use in our day-to-day life. Let's begin. How do you cope when your heart is broken? Do you drink? Do you get high? How do you cope when you don't get the job you want? Do you get mad? Do you take it out on others, or do you get depressed? Or maybe you don't feel at all. However, coping occurs in response to psychological stress in an effort to maintain mental health and emotional well-being. Coping mechanisms are the strategies people often use in the face of stress or trauma to help manage painful or difficult emotions. Coping mechanisms can help people adjust to stress events while helping them maintain their emotional well-being. Unfortunately, many of those habits are negative ones. Some people view a coping mechanism as a form of an addiction. Coping mechanisms, like a majority of habits, have an addictive quality to them. We experience a compulsion towards them and often find it hard to resist them. Coping mechanisms are used as distractions, as a crutch to rely on to avoid stress. Therefore, coping mechanism isn't really a true choice that you make. It is an unconscious habit which can be harmful to your well-being. So today, we will be looking into both healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms, identifying traits that can stop us from engaging in coping mechanisms that can form an addiction. So let's start off by clearing up something that tends to be thought as a coping mechanism, but is not. It's brother, which is a defense mechanism. Some people may fuse a defense mechanism with a coping mechanism. Although these two concepts share some similarities, they are, in fact, different. Defense mechanisms mostly occur at an unconscious level, and people are genuinely unaware that they even do them. Like when you're in an argument, but instead of listening, you instantly shut down. That, my friend, is a defense mechanism. Coping mechanisms, on the other hand, are typical, conscious, and purposeful. Coping mechanisms are used to manage external situations that is creating problems for an individual. Like getting drunk after a heartbreak to make the feelings you feel go away is an example as a coping mechanism. Defense mechanisms can be a person's internal psychological state. Now, with that said, let's talk about coping mechanism styles. Coping mechanism styles can broadly be categorized as active or avoidant. Active coping mechanism styles usually involve an awareness of the stressor or a conscious attempt to reduce stress. Avoidant coping mechanism styles, on the other hand, are categorized by ignoring or otherwise avoiding the problem. Some coping methods, though they work for time being, are not effective for a long-term period. These ineffective coping mechanisms, which can often be counterproductive or have unintended negative consequences, are known as maladaptive coping. Adaptive coping mechanisms are those generally considered to be healthy and effective ways to manage stress situations, like trauma. People sometimes tend to suppress it, which might help short term, but long term, you're going to explode. So active coping mechanisms would be like therapy, which in theory will heal you long term. Like that, guys. He's being annoying and he's getting in the shots, but now you know what he looks like. You will see his tail probably throughout this video. However, we tend to use coping mechanisms as a distraction, a crutch, which we lean on as a way to avoid stress. These activities often prevent us from dealing directly with the stress and therefore harm our well-being. Addictions can take many forms, both obvious or subtle. Some are clearly harmful, such as reliance on alcohol, prescriptions, recreational drugs, gambling, or dysfunctional eating. Almost anything can become an addiction though. From watching TV to exercising, to computers, work, or even socializing. While these may not immediately appear to be destructive, on a real level, they encroach on your time, sap your attention, and prevent you from living your life fully. Even something as natural and enjoyable as sex can become an addiction and exhibit these characteristics. These habits do not generate any true joy, but instead are a source of an obsession that constantly needs to be satisfied. There are a few things that you can do yourself to spot whether you have a coping mechanism which is turning into an addiction. Look at the ways in which you are spending your time. What do you automatically do when you're feeling uncomfortable or stressed out? Are you allowing this behavior to control your life? If you still don't know, I have some examples of some maladaptive coping mechanism styles. Style number 1, avoiding the issue altogether. Anxious avoidance style is an extreme common strategy employed to cope with situations that make you feel afraid. It makes sense on the surface to try to stay away from anything that makes you feel anxious or worried. However, over time, that fear is strengthened and maintained if it isn't confronted. While avoidance brings immediate relief, learning to confront your worries is the best way to move forward in the long run. Number 2, smoking. Many people turn to smoking as a way to cope if they feel stress, as it brings a sense of immediate relief. It also gives you something to focus on and keep your hands occupied. While smoking is a form of distraction, it is a negative one and has several negative financial and health implications on your future. Number 3, spending compulsively. One common way of handling stress is to shop compulsively. Heaven knows I've done it. While buying a new pair of shoes or a piece of jewelry may make you feel good in the short term, in the long term, it can cause a host of problems. Some people begin to hide their purchases from families or even take out loans or credit cards so they can carry on with their spending habits even though their bank is running pretty damn dry. Number 4, drinking excessive caffeine. Just like when you smoke, you can get an instant sense of relief whenever you drink coffee. That helps in the short term to cope with stress. However, over the long term, it can cause problems, guys. You can develop a caffeine dependency, which in turn causes caffeine crashes as well as poor quality sleep. And if you're anyone who cares about the longevity of your face, it can definitely cause back. So, number 5, running away. This isn't too big of a surprise that lots of people try to run away from their situations that produce anxiety. Being able to escape from the immediate issue or circumstance which is causing you stress can bring an immediate sense of relief. The next time, however, a similar situation arises, remember that you felt relieved when you escaped the last time, and therefore you'll try to run away again. This is a terrible strategy though, and can lead to an increasing isolation since you run away from everything and people. Also, if you continue to avoid panic-inducing situations, you'll never be able to make the anxiety go away by itself. Number 6, consuming too much alcohol. Depending on alcohol to reduce stress is an extremely common thing to do. Since drinking is excessive, vodka is cheap, and it usually helps people numb the emotions and the feelings that they are feeling. Drinking excessively has many negative health implications though. However, if you continue to drink to an excess, you could end up damaging your liver, getting cancer, or even other health issues. And for $9.99, it's not worth it, guys. $9.99 for that vodka bottle is not worth it. Sometimes it's $5, but it's not worth it, guys. Number 7, sleeping excessively. Some people retreat to their beds when they are going through something stressful, guys. Since time sleeping represents an effective way to avoid thinking about a situation, just take a nap. While it may seem that this isn't too destructive of a problem, the human body requires outside stimulation and exercise to stay healthy. So instead of napping, guys, reflect, then nap. So that way, if the reflection makes you feel like shit, you can sleep it off. Words of wisdom. It's been tried and true by me. Also, like if you sleep on the thought, sometimes you'll just forget it by the time you wake up. You'll be like, oh my God, what was that? Number 8, well, we all know that, my fingers get weird after a certain number. So 8 is where it starts looking weird. Promiscuous. Some people find out that going out to have meaningless sex is a way to block out the stressful situations of life. However, this can be a dangerous practice, can cause a host of problems in your life. You may lose a committed relationship, friends due to your promiscuous behaviors, and can end up with a sexually transmitted infection. With that said, the song Promiscuous is a bop. Promiscuous girl, you already know I'm not, and it's you that I want. Promiscuous boy, you ain't wrong. Promiscuous girl, you're teasing me, That was fun. Number 9. I can't do 9 with my finger. I broke a hand, guys. You guys should know this by now, but 9. I'm technically trying to hold up 9. Number 9, eating disorders. One very common negative coping strategy is to use food to forget your problems. For some people, this takes a form of overeating, whereas others, it can take a form of restricting the calorie intake that you are supposed to get daily for your body. Either way, eating disorder can have a serious health ramification and can be life-threatening. So please, if you have one, reach out to your family, your loved ones, therapists, a counselor, anyone you can trust, and try to work on that, because everyone deserves to love themselves. And if you have an eating disorder, I just want you to know that you are important, you are loved, and it will break my heart to see you do that. Though a negative coping mechanism may bring you instant relief, over time, it will only cause more damage. Therefore, seeing a counselor to help point you towards a more adaptive mechanism could be beneficial in helping you to live a happier life, to have a happier outcome whenever you're faced with a situation that is stressful. You should always try to maintain a positive, healthy lifestyle, guys, which includes exercising and eating in moderation. By taking up productive pastimes like knitting, woodworking, baking, you can also learn how to distract yourself from stress in a positive way, rather than engaging in negative distraction techniques like compulsive shopping, drinking, or being promiscuous. Also learn how to distract yourself from stress in a positive way. Number 1, support. Talking about a stressful event with a supportive person can be an effective way to manage stress. Like talking to a counselor or a therapist, seeking external support instead of self-loathing and internalizing the effects of stress can greatly reduce the negative effects of a difficult situation. Number 2, relaxation. Any number of relaxation activities can help people cope with stress. Relaxing activities may include practicing meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, or calming techniques, sitting in nature, listening to soft lo-fi music. There's some on YouTube. Adjusting expectations, anticipating various outcomes to scenarios in life may assist preparing for stress associated in any given change or event. Number 3, problem solving. This coping mechanism involves identifying a problem that is causing you stress, then developing and putting into action some potential solution for effectively managing that stress that you currently have in your life. Number 4, physical activity. Exercise can serve as a natural and healthy form of stress relief. Running, yoga, swimming, walking, dancing, team sports, and many other types of physical activities can help some people cope with stress and the after effects of traumatic events. Both mental and emotional patterns have an addictive quality that are equally as important to address, though they may be harder to recognize on your own. This is a key role for an objective, wise outsider, not a toxic person, whether that be a trusted friend, family member, doctor, therapist, someone both caring and impartial that can help bring to light the destructive psychological tendencies so that they can truly be dealt with. Until we are aware of our addictions, we are slaves to them. We will continue to sabotage ourselves and our progress. With that said, guys, it is the end of our chapter with this topic. If you like my stuff, make sure that you like or comment down below what you enjoyed, and just make sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content. Keep it up, thumbs up me if you can. And until next time, sweet peas, bye.